Well, I'm being joined by PK Mishra, Mitali Nikor, who continues from our earlier discussion, and Professor Rajiv Lochan joins me as an author, as well as Mukesh Mohan Gupta, who's the president for Chamber of Indian Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining me. Mr. PK Mishra, I just wanted to ask you one more question before I said thank you to you. I wanted to get a sense from you. What does the strides made by women in India's defense mean? Because Prime Minister specifically mentioned about that as well.
Yes, I can well tell you that what our women they have done in our defense. I salute them. I'll give you few examples. During Up Sindhu, when the person who was firing our mortars from Jammu border to Sialkot, when Jammu border was totally, they were being sailed by drones. Our motorman, he was firing mortars on Sialkot. Then a drone, it did hit him, and he became a Sahid. And that is the time the women constables there who were very close to these mortars, they took it and they kept on pounding mortars on Sialkot sector headquarters of Pakistan Rangers. And salute to those women constables of Border Security Force. Second thing I'll tell you, all these drones which are coming from Pakistan in Punjab border, bringing weapons and drugs, they are being shut down by our women constables. Again, salute to them. So they are in fact, everywhere you go to border area and you find these women constables, these women officers, they are second to none. And I find them everywhere in the complete border area, particularly in border outposts, in all observation posts, you find them with the weapons, and they are, in fact, they are saving our country from particularly from the Pakistan and China border also. They are there, and see everywhere, even in you see cyber. There is a point in cyber we have not discussed. In cyber also you find our lady, our women soldiers. They are experts in cyber. Right. And not only cyber, in space technology also they are taking in space. So the women constables and women forces, in particularly defense area, they are doing their best, and they are second to none.
The fight for permanent commission still on.
Yes, and that is how see, our honorable Prime Minister, he told, you see, Nari Shakti Bandhan Abhinay, and that is what will continue, and more women forces will be there, and in fact they are in, you see, they are even the fighter aircrafts are being flying are being flown by them. So they are second to none, and they are the commandos also in the border. I repeat, they are the commandos in the border. You go to Wagha border today evening also, you can watch in Wagha border the march, the weapon training, and whatever the women constables, they are doing it. They are better than even Pakistan Rangers. I can test them. I can tell you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for staying with us.
Thank you. Then all the best. All the best.
Let me just get you. Welcome, Mr. Mukesh Mohan. Thank you so much for joining us. Professor Rajiv Lochan, if I can just ask you this question about the 12-year highlight that Prime Minister made. You know, he made several claims. He spoke about gas pipeline. He spoke about tap water deliveries. He spoke about how electricity has been, how the railway network has been electrified. 70% in a decade, 90%, sorry, it was 30% in 90 years. What I'm asking you is, while he highlighted the achievements, the intentionality of development under his government, there was also a very clear political messaging. How do you read that?
The Prime Minister carries a tremendous amount of weight where Indians are concerned. And the last time that he talked about Indians becoming Swachh, Indians actually went out and started doing Swachhata and started living cleanly. When he said that India should be free and do more production and work hard, these different departments about which you just listed, in all those departments, development started, and a very significant, visible, tangible kind of developments happened. People benefit from all these developments. People benefit from the improved railway system, the improved roadway system. People benefit from the opportunities to grow. And people have by and large appreciated it. That is something that you can see in the election results. Now, the election results have shown that people are happy, satisfied, and trust Narendra Modi quite a lot. The one area where, however, which is pulling us down right now, about which the Prime Minister did not talk, is that our municipal corporations have to start working harder. That the people in the localities have to start taking control of their lives and ensure that their locality remains a spick and span, remains courteous, and remains civil. The local locations that we have, these are beautiful locations, but they need to be converted into people-friendly locations. That is one message which the Prime Minister perhaps missed out on today. But otherwise, the tangible growth though is there for everyone to see and experience. There is no doubt about that. The Cockroach Janata Party protest that happened a few weeks ago, it's also resulted in people looking back into themselves and saying that while the Cockroach Janata Party shows youth to be slightly disenchanted, there's a large body of youth who think positively about the Prime Minister and who are willing to come forward and stand with him. So the Prime Minister does need to take one step forward to reach out to the youth. Today, you would have noticed that he talked to the school children. Now, many of these interactions are scripted. I hope that the Prime Minister gets out of this scripted mode and has some more spontaneous interactions with the younger people of the country.
Well, I mean, he is also somebody who's very spontaneous and innate by nature. So that'll be very interesting to see as well, play out in public space as well. Mr. Mukesh, what were the big highlights for you? A lot that's been spoken for manufacturing. I think that's been taken as a big push for the next years to come. What are your big takeaways?
So to me, the Prime Minister's address today was centered towards the micro, small and medium enterprises to which I represent. You know, all 7 points, whatever he discussed, everything is somehow related to micro, small and medium enterprises. Be it the quality of the product, be it manufacturing product to be global, be it 1 lakh crore of innovation fund, be it skilling, be it semiconductors, everything is in any way connected to micro, small and medium enterprises. We have seen recently, not only on these type of occasions, but the government is always concerned about ease of doing business for the micro, small and medium enterprises. Recently, MSME Amendment Act has been passed, giving a lot of ease of doing business, problem of delayed payment solution. So this government is concerned perhaps with the micro, small and medium enterprises. And this is the reason behind this is because if we want to make a developed country by 2047, major role and the major contributor to this developed India will be micro, small and medium enterprises. He also talked about the startup. As on today, more than 2.5 lakh startups are there in the country. Many unicorns are there. And the vision of the Prime Minister that out of these 500 fortune companies, 50 countries should be of India. I am quite confident that this dream will definitely be come true. He talked about everything, about the banking sector, about the large auditing company, about the consulting. So the everything to me, the complete address of the Prime Minister was related to either growth of MSME or the employability of our youth to support these micro, small and medium enterprises and the startup. So thank you very much from my side. From MSME sector, a big thank you to the Honorable Prime Minister to give such a support and boost to this sector.
Mithali, MSME also has a very huge women connect in India.
Absolutely, absolutely, Sneha. And, I just want to reflect a little bit on both these aspects of MSMEs And also, then come back to your question on the armed forces, because I did want to comment a bit on that. But I think on MSMEs, when we look at the contribution of women-led MSMEs, the last known number stood at about 20%. That nearly a fifth of the country's MSMEs are owned and operated by women. But now, of course, that number has increased considerably. In the startup space, also, we see about one third of startups are women or women led, or there is a women co-founder, of the startup. But I think the biggest problem that happens when you're trying to run your own MSME, I myself am an MSME. I'm also registered as an MSME. So, very honestly, the biggest problem that happens in that situation is the number of compliances, the number of, registration documents, the GST filing, the taxation, every single thing comes on one person. We deal with so many women, women-led MSMEs, and their biggest problem is I know how to sell, I know my product, I know my market even, but I can't do this paperwork, so I'm not registering. I'm not going to go formal. I'm not going to think about even expanding, because if I cross a certain number, then these compliances kick in, which I don't want to do. So I think somewhere between the industry associations, like the Indian MSME associations, all of them, so many are there, and the government of India, we have structures like the district industry centers that are operational in every district. We have to come up with clinics, and this is something that I've been recommending for almost 6-7 years. We've been talking to MSME ministry about it as well, that can we have some clinics for supporting women led enterprises in the clusters, because many of them, they are not at this point in time equipped to deal with the paperwork. So I think that's the main hurdle. But honestly, when you look at the innovation, the quality of the products, the fact that these women may not even have had too much training, and yet because of the ancient arts that we have, the handlooms, the handicrafts, the saris, the paintings, the furniture, I mean, the quality of the products is world class. I mean, it's ready for exports. And I think we have been working right now with Fiki Flow, and we are actually coming up with a project where we are supporting women from clusters around the country to become export ready, leverage the new free trade agreements that have been signed by India and with the UK, with the EU, and even the consulates, the Indian consulate in the UK, Indian consulates in several EU countries are so supportive of this program, because they really want the women to benefit from these export opportunities.
Right.
So when there is a lot of work going on, but we still need to, take that to the ground level.
Absolutely.
Ajay,
And you wanted to respond.
I just want to respond to what
Sure.
Mitali ji has told, if you kindly permit me.
Please, sir, go
So,
ahead.
yeah, so one thing, as far as the contribution of women in the MSME sector, just yesterday I was in a function where Honorable Minister of MSME was there, and it was announced by even Secretary MSME that as on today, out of these 9 crore MSMEs which have been registered on as an Udyam registration, more than 40% are owned by women. And these 9 crore plus MSMEs are employing more than 41 crore workforce. Another very important aspect which has been raised by Mitali ji is the compliance. I would like to share with you a very, very important thing, because in this announcement of today's Prime Minister address also, he was talking about some AI training to 1 crore youth. What we have done at Chamber of Indian Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, we have come up with a MSME Mitra course. What this MSME Mitra course does actually, I suppose this is the solution of all the problems you have raised. What happens actually when MSME or when anybody wants to start their startup or MSME, they are not aware of various schemes of various ministries being announced by different government, different state, central government. How to get the registration, how to get Udyam registration, how to get startup registration, how to get ESIC, EPF, how to apply loan online, how to use ODR, ONDC, so many things. What we have done in this MSME Mitra course, which is available digitally on msmemitracourse.com, we have covered more than 120
Right.
chapters And each chapter, just 1 minute, each chapter has been tried to be educated in 7 modes, like a detailed study material, PPT, a podcast, a video, a frequently asked question, and at the end, step-by-step process to get each and every registration, licenses, compliances. So perhaps this is going to be a big support not only to MSME but the youth of our country, those who want to be the para-professional and to increase their employability, because the Prime Minister has today announced that they will do it free of cost. We will also discuss in our advisory board of the chamber, and we will also come forward with the vision of the government that how can we give this MSME Mitra course to the youth, to the owners of MSME free of cost. So definitely on Monday, Tuesday, we'll announce on this also.
Right. In fact, Mithali, you wanted to make a response on women in defense. I'll just get back to you on that. Professor Lotran, for your last remarks, what are your big takeaways? What did you look at Prime Minister's speech that really stayed with you?
See, the positivity of the Prime Minister's speech was amazing. He reminded us how big
And
the
this time
country
it was
has
a
become.
Rajasthani pagadi.
He reminded us that we have to take care of this pagadi. He reminded us that the negativity which is spread around by these so-called Naxals, this negativity has to be shunned. And it's very important because once people have a positive mindset, they would be able to make use of the opportunities that are coming up. If the mind is infected with negativity, the possibility of people using these opportunities goes down dramatically. नक्सलियों के बारे में जो उन्होंने बात कही थी, I think that's a
You're
very,
talking about the
very
Dimaghi
important
Naxals.
reminder. Yeah.
You know, but
So-
I want to ask you, Professor Lotran, since you raised this, being pessimist and critiquing whatever is happening is a very different thing. But critiquing is also a very important part of democracy.
I would fully agree with you. Critiquing is very important. The problem is that people who in India, when they start the process of critiquing, they're actually merely trying to run something down. There's a lot of difference between the notion of a devil's advocate who tries to find fault with what is going on with the purpose of discovering better ways of moving forward. The critique that happens in India is partial. It forgets the context, it ignores the alternatives, and it simply focuses on being a critique in itself rather than a critique for moving forward. Now, that is unacceptable.
All right. Last word with you, Mithali. You wanted to say something about women in defense.
Yeah, so I think, it's something that we have to internalize that women's role in the defense forces is on par with men's role. I think in March 2026 was when the Supreme Court also, after a fight of nearly 3 decades, finally said that the permanent commission must be granted and the government must formulate rules. Ministry of Defense has been pushing against it for 3 decades, and we've spoken on your show and otherwise. I remember when we had the News9 conclave as well, so many women from the defense forces had come there and they had spoken about how it impacts their career not to have the permanent commission. I think what is also very interesting is the fact that the forces have not yet made provisions for certain basic biological functions also of women, and this is not a political statement. I think that this is just about creating inclusive workplaces. We have so many new opportunities coming up in the armed forces which are tech driven, which are automation driven. There's going to be drones introduced in our army and in our armed forces in the future. You won't probably even need to go on the field. So honestly, it's now the time for women to really come forward and leverage their expertise, especially in these new job roles, and we need a more inclusive workplace for that.
I think a lot of takeaways from today. We'll have to see how the next year really defines all of it. The vision has been set, and now it's for every stakeholder, every Indian to partake in that. Thank you very much, all three of you, for joining me. Thank you so much. We leave you with excerpts of what Prime Minister spoke from Red Fort today.
आज जो इस समारोह में उपस्थित है उन सब के लिए आज एक ऐतिहासिक पल भी है। आजादी के बाद 15 अगस्त को लाल किले पर पहली बार वंदे मातरम गूंज रहा है। आज जब हम देश के लोग वंदे मातरम के 150 वर्ष मना रहे हैं, तो इससे बड़ा उत्तम अवसर क्या हो सकता है। एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी का एक बड़ा माध्यम है परमाणु ऊर्जा, न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी। हमने पार्लियामेंट में शांति एक्ट पास कर करके एक नए लक्ष्य तरफ जाने का रास्ता तय कर लिया है। 2047 तक हम 100 गीगावाट न्यूक्लियर पावर का लक्ष्य लेकर के चल रहे हैं। इसी एक दशक में हम 5 नए न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर शुरू करने का लक्ष्य लेकर के चल रहे हैं। इस वर्ष भारत ने फास्ट ब्रीडर न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी में महारत हासिल करके एक अहम पड़ाव पार किया है और उसके कारण परमाणु ईंधन में आत्मनिर्भर बनने की दिशा में हमें एक बहुत बड़ा सफलता का कदम हमने रखा है।